What's going on, everybody? It's Erica with Not Your Average EDC, and today we are talking about the Benchmade Bugout. But we're not going to be talking about this one. I'm only using it as an example of evolution. So, the Bugout is one of my absolute all-time favorite knives. It is my second favorite knife after the Emerson Mini A100. And here we have just a basic Grivery-handled FRN Bugout. Granted, this one is in S90V from the custom shop, but generally speaking, if you buy a Bugout in the base model, it's going to look and feel like this, with the plastic handles and a little deep carry clip, all that good stuff. And many of us love the Bugout. However, a lot of us didn't like the plastic handles because they're cheap and flimsy to some people and you can flex them, etc., etc. I personally love them, but a lot of people don't. So makers, including Benchmade, started coming out with an updated version of this, and we now have options like micarta and G10, which are really nice. So these are some aftermarket scales from Death Grip Scales. These are my personal ones in olive drab G10 with olive drab micarta inlays, and just giving the Bugout a facelift like this really does change how it feels. It does feel more sturdy, more rugged, and more like a first option knife as opposed to a backup blade or a Bugout blade. It makes it feel more rigid, and just like you can kind of rely on it for your first choice for EDC. There are a whole bunch of makers that make scales for the Bugout. Benchmade even makes their own G10 scales, but I've never really enjoyed them. I just don't like how they feel, and I don't like the milling that they do for the grip. There's something about it that I just didn't like, but I really enjoy these Death Grip scales. They're just bead blasted, and they feel absolutely incredible. However, now something has entered the game that has literally changed this knife, and we are going in a completely different direction now than we have been. So now, our friends over at Applied Weapons Tech have created these. And these are their version of the Bugout scales, which are literally a game changer. So, these are Cerakoted aluminum scales, and basically Applied Weapons Tech redesigned the entire handle scale model to improve it. So now we have a few major points of change. Specifically in this back end, it is not as squared off as the normal Bugout. It's kind of contoured to fit in your palm, especially when you close it. We also have some contouring all throughout here. This is not squared off anymore. We have some angling, and basically, as far as I know, we have not seen this type of milling for the handle scales. This type of grooved, waved milling, which is super grippy. We haven't seen any of this before in the Bugout, and we have so many different options, but this is something that we have never seen. So let's look at it in comparison to the original and just go through quickly what has changed. So, I just want to get these lined up here. Okay. So as you can see with the normal Bugout, it is super square. The rear end of the knife is literally like a rectangle, and that doesn't necessarily make it uncomfortable to work with. However, I have noticed I feel like when you go to close the knife, if you have small hands like me, you're kind of forced to like push the corner of this knife up into your palm. That way you can have like room to disengage that lock and close it. Like, I guess what I'm saying is you almost have to be mindful of working with this design because it is so squared off that you really are getting the full length of the knife. You have to work with the full length of the knife because it doesn't like die down at all. I mean, it is literally a straight line until the very corner and then drops. So I kind of have to like be mindful and be like, okay, where's that back end? There it is. Now I can work with that axis lock. And it definitely doesn't bother me, and it's never even been something that I thought about wanting to change. It's just something that I've noticed I had to be mindful of with my small hands. What I've noticed with this updated version is that because they started to kind of bring this down in the back, it fits perfectly into like the nook of my hand here, and I don't have to be mindful anymore of when I close the knife or anything. So like it literally just swings in, tucks right up in my hand, and when I go to close the knife, there's no like finding that sweet spot of where to tuck it in. It just like kind of swings in here, melts in, and you're not trying to push that corner into your hand to get that purchase. It just completely melts. So this is like legit a game changer. Something as simple as rounding off that back end, like it's crazy how it can just change the whole feel of a knife doing one simple change like that. I don't really notice a huge difference in ergonomics up front with this choil and this chamfering here. I don't really like notice me being like, whoa, that feels so incredible. Like it feels good. It feels good. But I wouldn't say that I necessarily prefer this portion over the original portion of the Bugout. Really, the star of the show here is just this simple rounding in the butt end that just tucks right into your hand. Also, these scales are just extremely well made and very thin, very, very rugged and durable. I mean, they're so well made. When you get the scales on the inside of them, right around here, they even have like machined the company name into the scales. It's just like a very nice touch. These are seriously so beautiful, and they feel amazing. They're lightweight, but they're way more rugged feeling than the plastic ones or even the G10. I mean, they just feel so different. But I will say, right off the bat, one thing I wish they did was machine a third screw hole in here. When you buy the Bugout, it has its own specific clip, which I showed previously. This little deep carry clip here that only needs 2 screws. So they carried that over into this. But the only thing about that I don't like is that I don't really enjoy the Bugout clip. I'd rather have a regular clip or a Lynch clip or any type of anything but that for the most part on my Bugout. And I think it looks a little awkward now because they only put 2 holes in and I have a 3-hole clip here. So I feel like that looks a little strange having that missing screw, but there's nowhere to put it in. So I really wish that they had brought over the 3 holes just in case anybody wanted to use a different type of clip. But aside from that, guys, these are fabulous. They're so beautiful, and they have so many options. I think I mentioned this earlier, but these are Cerakoted. So they will wear in, and I'm sure they will catch some scratches and some battle scars, which you guys know I love. But they have tons and tons of options for your color choice. I picked the flat dark earth. That's just like one of my colors. Green and flat dark earth are my favorite colors for knives. So that's what I chose. But they have blue, red, orange, green, black. They have basically everything you can think of. And their version of flat dark earth is definitely a little darker than I'm used to. I wish I had... Actually, let me grab, like, kind of the flat dark earth color that I'm used to. This is a Mini A100 in flat dark earth Tarot Tough, which granted is a little light, but you can just kind of tell the difference here. I mean, their version of FDE is much darker than normal. I think it looks incredible, but just a heads up, if you are thinking that it's going to be like a normal coyote colored FDE, it's not. It's more of a brown than a coyote color. But I just wanted to show these off to you guys. This will absolutely be going through the testing. Obviously not this month because we're doing the Mini A100, but this will go through a month of testing for sure. I want to see how long-term use with this design compares to the normal Bugout, because I have plenty of experience with the normal one, so I'm really curious to see how this works for a month, because it feels like it's going to be completely different. Like, I can't emphasize how natural it feels now to just swing this into my hand and close it. It just fits perfectly. So please go check out Applied Weapons Technology. They're on Instagram. They have a website, made in the USA, very well priced. I have noticed that in using their scales for a couple years now, every time that I have done a build with their scales, if I had a knife that was not centered before, it centered out in their scales. I'm not sure what it is about their scales that does that, but every knife that I've ever had, whether it was centered or not, centered up with their scales. I had a really bad mini grip one time that was just so wonky. Put it in a set of their mini grip scales and it straightened right out. So they do a very fine job. And I would definitely recommend checking them out, checking out these new scales. They do make this same version for the bailout as well. So if you have a bailout, you can get these same grooved Cerakoted scales for that. But go check them out. I think these are going to be kind of like a pivotal game changer for the Bugout, because they're just so different than anything we've seen and they feel so good. So check out Applied Weapons Tech. They have tons of choices over there. I will see you guys on the next video, and as always, use your shit. Have a good one, guys.